Welcome back to a series of me uplifting the interior and exterior of my 2011 Ram 1500. If you guys haven't watched the last video, please go check it out. In the last video, I mentioned that I'm switching these with the upgraded ones where you have LCD screen in the middle and this is a 7-way switch. I ran into multiple problems, so I'm going to explain those, how I tackled them, and how I made everything work. Now this is the problem that I'm running into, that this system, which is the manual style system, has two separate plugs. This plug is responsible for blower motor speed control. This plug is responsible for all the communications with. Now, that communication plug is responsible for all this stuff where it tells the system that, hey, I want hot air or cold air or which vents I want the air from, and then of course to activate your if you have heated mirrors. Now, what was happening is when I had the new system plugged in, all I had was the communications all for this stuff. I was able to use the hot and cold air and everything. However, the blower motor wasn't working. What I ended up doing, I ended up plugging in the blower motor plug into this one, and I was able to control blower motor through this while the other system was still working all the other stuff. Now, it gave me an idea that I'm missing some sort of a communications, which this plug has to be communicating for the blower motor as well. So I ended up going back to the same junkyard where I bought this from, and then what it did, I cut this harness from there, took the harness with me because I noticed that their plug had some extra wires and it does not have this plug. So it had to be that everything is condensed into one plug because they kind of like get tee off from the same harness back there. And I also pulled everything from the blower motor side from their harness and everything. So got harness, plugs, and everything. I ended up putting both connectors side by side from the old harness to the new harness, pulled the cables from the old one, which is connector sitting right there, and then I inserted everything into this one. Now I've been doing some testing back and forth behind the camera, so I ended up figuring it out how it works. So I'm gonna show you guys down there first how it works, and so by default we have that connector that plugs in there, and this connector is the power connector. What you see here in this picture is that we have ground wire connected from the chassis to the resistor of the donor truck, and then we have a communication wire out of the resistor going into the existing plug which brings our communication back to the dashboard area, and then we have a power wire jumper using a small. In this way I was able to test everything working, so I will explain the rest in the next video because this is almost 3 minutes, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Now once I have my communication up to here, I ended up stripping all these wires and touched them one by one to see which one